Hey there, I'm Chris Tabron, mix engineer with the Access Collective, and working on a client now, Gordon Voidwell, his single coming out, Ivy League Circus. Thought we'd give you a look into how the mix is coming together and little tricks that are going on here. Got some new plugins, some new gear, some same old tricks and some new tricks. Actually, I'm going to try on this mix as well, so thought it might be nice to give you sort of a day in the life of how this mix has come together. Both Will and I kind of came up in hip-hop music, so the first thing we should probably talk about are the drums and the rhythm section. So take a look over here. This is the drum section in the Pro Tools session here. Got quite a few things going on, but let's just listen to what the soloed rhythm section sounds like right now. Take out that bass line. We'll talk about the bass line in a second. So the drums, we've got some sample drums. One is a DMX snare that I've multed out. One's a 909 kick, another's and then various versions of a different type of kick sample. And then we've got claps, which also are coming from the DMX machine. Hi-hats, and that's pretty much it for the drums. One thing that I do have going on with the drums, got the Symmetrics CL100 compressor on the kick, and also multiple snares on both DMX snares. These LA Audio compressors are really great. They're pretty much like the SSL, the old SSL compressors that were on each channel of the desk. So you can see both of these are on the snares. Another thing that we have over here, if you want to step over to the Pro Tools rig, this is the sampled snare here. I have a Sonoxys SV315 Mark II plug-in. It's really just kind of grabbing at it a little bit, giving it a little bit of bite. You can also check out, I've got Lo-Fi here, DigiDesign plug-in. Adding some harmonic distortion and just some outright noise on it. I wanted to make this track sound a lot cleaner and a lot punchier, as I said, than the rough mix, but a little dirt is warranted here and there too. On the other DMX snare, what we have is a really clappy, in-your-face snare. It's a great sounding snare, very appropriate for this music. Been trying out this new plugin from Waves from the Maserati Collection, named after Tony Maserati. This one, I'm just using his snare top preset as a starting point for these drums, and you can sort of hear what it's doing there. I'm sort of just tightening up the attack a bit because I want it to cut through the mix, because we have so many snares that are similar in frequency, sounding quite similar in a frequency spectrum. Which brings me to the bass that we talked about before, which is a synth bass. A number of things going on here. Again, the Maserati plugin, this is the bass part of it. Even though it's a synth bass, I'm actually using it in the DI mode, adding a little bit of low end and a little bit of treble, and compressing it substantially. Then that is followed by a tube emulation by Ampeg, their SVX emulation amp. And then there's moments in the song, in the chorus, where the bass gets a little bit thicker and a little bit more unwieldy in terms of performance intensity. It gets a little bit bigger. So I have that multed out to the DBX 160. Not a lot of gain reduction here, but I just wanted to kind of send it through this unit just to give me a little bit of control on it. In the analog domain. That pretty much leads us to vocals, which are really important actually in this context. You can listen to a lot of the stacks that we have here going on and the harmonizing. Will's actually quite a good singer, and I wanted to make his vocals really shine. But the trick with having so many stacked vocals is finding a way to have each recording and overdub have its own space sonically, without it just kind of being a muddy mess. So we want to have a nice shine on these vocals, but we want them to also have body to them as well. One way that we're doing that is, again, with parallel compression, and I'm using these LA audio compressors. The last two channels that we have here on the LA Audio 4C, just a 4-channel, again emulating what the SSL desks used to have on their channel strips. And then there's a few harmonizing effects going on, and I'm actually just going to solo the effects here. So there's a little bit of reverb, but mainly this reverb that you're hearing is what I sent from the snare. Now this is also something from the SPX 90 outboard effects unit. Sort of a flutter, symphonic effect. And then I have an auto panning delay as well. Also used delicately. It's definitely a spice to be used sparingly. But when it all comes in, at least to me I'd act so cold. So high upon you move from a place of just having a bunch of stacked vocals to actually having a vocal sound, which is what we're going for in this mix. We want a vocal sound that's very signature, and we want people to hear it and know that's Gordon Voidwell, you know. And there's one more thing I want to do, just to check out. We're actually reamping the lead vocal double into the Fender Twin. So let's take a look at that in the live room. So as I mentioned here, we got the Fender Twin Verb setting the double of the lead vocal here, but it adds a little bit of space in the mix, and it actually thickens up the vocal stack that we have going on. So again, sort of working towards creating a vocal sound for this artist. I think that it's important to remember that just because you're mixing doesn't mean you can't step into the live room and incorporate some of the tools that you have here in a mix. So from here on, we're just going to do some more changes as per the client's requests, and then we'll get his reactions to the mix, and then we'll finish it up, and we'll have ourselves a single. The summer house and first class smiles, your silver knife and sharp denial. But
yo, so I'm here at Future Shock. Just finished mixing Ivy League Circus, sounding pretty good, as Larry David might say. This song is one of my simpler arrangements. I think the palette is pretty straightforward. It's synth and drums, probably one of the more minimal approaches that I've taken, but I really like it, and I think we were able to get a really full sound out of it, maybe because it was so minimal. Actually, the bass is like exactly where I'd want it to be. It's pretty present, and it has a really nice low end, but it's not overwhelmingly boomy, which I think is a really hard thing to accomplish in a good bass sound. So I'm really pleased with that. The vocals sound really great. They're sitting really nicely in the mix generally. I think there are a few different sort of sounds that I go for, but generally we're sort of emulating this like late 70s, early 80s type of electro funk. But yeah, it sounds great. I think we did a pretty good job. Like Chris really kind of hammered it home, that aesthetic, that sound aesthetic that we were going for. So I'm thankful. Hopefully it'll be circulating around on iPods, etc., etc.
We missed each other by a mile. Back then it seemed you were a child. At least to me, I